Right, all you lovely resilient cities people, this video will help you to do your job. It explains resilience and complex systems and how the two are inextricably connected. Its purpose is to stoke your curiosity and to start conversations. So, no time for dawdling, let's get on. Resilience is the property of a system, and a system can be anything. A simple thing like a wine glass or a paper bag, a complicated thing like a clock or a phone, or a complex thing like you, or, because it's always good to have a cat picture, a cat. There are two important things about resilience: robustness and adaptability. A system is robust if it can absorb stresses, and adaptable if it can learn in response to stresses. Robustness first. Wine glasses are jolly good at absorbing the stress of being filled with wine, naturally. Paper bags, faced with the same stress, are not so good. Equally, paper bags can absorb the stress of being knocked onto the kitchen floor absolutely brilliantly, but wine glasses don't do so well. Wine glasses and paper bags are robust only against particular stresses. That's the nature of robustness. But resilience is much, much more than mere robustness. Resilient systems have adaptability. If we take a complex system, a human being for example, possibly even you, and let's say I rather unkindly try to push you onto the kitchen floor, I might just succeed. If I try a second time, you'll be ready, and you probably won't fall over. You'll have learned and become more resilient. In fact, you will probably be better able to cope with all sorts of pushings and shovings because your balance has improved. This rather tremendous ability to learn from a stress, like a pushing, or indeed a shoving, is called adaptability. But adaptability only happens in complex systems. Wine glasses, paper bags, clocks and phones do not improve themselves from being pushed onto floors. For a system to be resilient, it must be both robust and adaptable. So only complex systems can be resilient. And the bottom line of all this is that to make cities resilient, you need to understand complex systems. Right, let's take a breather, make some tea, feed the cat, or just have 5 minutes nap before we get on with the next bit. If you went away, welcome back. Here comes the dead important stuff about complex systems. So, a complex system is not just a super gnarly version of an ordinary system. It means something specific. There's even a science of complex systems. A complex system is a system with loads of independently acting parts, and these parts have loads and loads of interactions with the other parts. Look at these birds. They all have standard issue bird brains. There's absolutely no air traffic control, yet they seem to be doing extremely clever stuff with very little fuss and feathers. Complex systems have a peculiar set of properties that let this kind of thing happen, like adaptability that we talked about earlier, learning, emergence and self-organisation. Let's look at each of these. Complex systems can learn. To vaccinate an extremely cute kitten, a vet would inject a mild version of the virus. The cute kitten's complex system learns how to respond to it, and if later in life it's exposed to the full-strength virus, it will probably survive, which is just great for cats. And this is the source of adaptability. Complex systems have the property of emergence. Let's contrast a complex system with a complicated one. A clock is a complicated system. If you took a careful look at the parts inside, you'd probably be able to work out how the clock would behave. Not so with a cat. A cat is a complex system. There are complex interactions both within the cat and between the cat and its environment. No amount of cat scanning would allow you to work out, for example, that a cat might purr when stroked. Clocks are the sum of their parts, cats are much more. Complex systems can also organise themselves. For example, traffic. If you want two streams of traffic to cross, you've got a choice. You can build a crossroads with traffic lights and apply a set of rules, or you can build a roundabout with a different set of rules. The lights, in a rather military fashion, organise the traffic. The roundabout is more of a dance. It enables the traffic to organise itself. So, well done. Thank you for paying attention. We'll get the organist back in so you can have another breather. Hello again, part 3 already. Time does fly when you're enjoying yourself. So, what does all this complex system stuff mean for cities? Mayors don't lean out of their windows every morning yelling instructions to the citizenry. Cities organise themselves. They're complex systems. But mayors can decide the rules for traffic and a whole lot of other things, and this will allow the city to better self-organise. There are 5 things about resilience and complex systems that you need to know. Number 1, resilience is not just about responding to the outside world. Cities do get hit by things like tsunamis and storms, but because they're complex systems, they can generate their own stresses, seemingly out of nowhere, like riots, traffic jams, and other bad things. Truly resilient systems respond to external and internal stresses. Number 2, resilience does not know right from wrong. For example, organised crime is highly resilient, which is just what we don't want. But we need the same knowledge to combat bad resilience as to generate the good. So that's something of a comfort. Number 3, resilience is not best friends with efficiency. There's a trade-off. For example, camels are extremely resilient to the stresses of the desert, but they're not an efficient mode of public transport. They're slow and uncomfortable and prone to spitting at their passengers. But there again, efficiency is costly too. Trucks are very good at going from A to B, but only where there are roads and gasoline and repair shops. Otherwise, they're not so resilient. Number 4, complex systems change all of the time, but there's a limit to how much. There are thresholds. If a system is shocked or pushed beyond one, it can't go back. Once the topsoil on a hillside has washed away through deforestation, it never returns. We need to understand thresholds. To become resilient, a system needs to learn how to stay away from them. Number 5, and this is a big one. Resilience is not about not changing. Trying to keep a system constant, preventing disturbance at all costs, reduces its resilience. Resilient systems, if they do anything, roll. So, those 5 things again. Cities must be resilient to internal stresses as well as external ones. Resilience is neither a good thing nor a bad thing. It's just a thing. There's a trade-off between efficiency and resilience. Watch out for thresholds, they can be final. And resilience is not about not changing things. If you want to learn more about taking action in complex systems, look for the 9 rather funky and terribly useful aspects of resilience. Right, that's it. We're almost done. Here are the main things to remember. Resilient cities need to be adaptable as well as robust. Adaptability is a property of complex systems. Now, complex systems behave in peculiar ways, but we can influence them provided we understand them. So, to that end, with your curiosity hopefully stoked, please do go for a conversation over a nice cup of tea with your resilient city friends. And with luck, what you learn together will make your cities more resilient and the cats who live in them a good deal more confident of their futures. And that, for now, is it.